exploits and breaches, locks and hacks. Rachel and Will got your back. Cyber threats and password fails, still break it down with real details. Step into a convo, pull up a chair. Ideas are brewing, wisdom in the air. From vendors to zero trust, to keeping it real and keeping it just. One sips coffee, the other abstains, but both drop knowledge straight to your brain. Talking tech with a human touch, add some laughs, so we've got that much. Grab a cup and circle up our tea talk that won't corrupt. Firewalls up, stay alert, let's keep the hackers eating dirt.
I'm still having a hard time getting used to that.
You don't like my AI generated theme song? I love it. Josh helped me make it. Leave me alone. Anyway, hi. Thank you. Look, Bogsy clapped for the theme song. Just saying. And if that's not what Bogsy clapped for, that's what I'm going to assume that Bogsy clapped for was for that amazing AI theme song. You too can have your own theme song. It's not that hard. DM me. Feel free. I'll help you out. It's okay.
I'm not Kronk, so it's okay.
Anyhow, hi. If you're new here, my name is Rachel Arnold. I'm the Human API, and today is my last day with Secure Nation.
Oh.
Did you know? Oh no, it's fine. It's okay. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm going to be joining the team at Lumen Technologies. I'm very excited. And that starts on Monday. So congratulations to me. Thank you.
They have no idea how lucky they are.
They're so lucky. They do. Actually, I've met most of the team, and the leader is such a cinnamon roll of a human being. He's just delightful. And his whole team is incredibly dedicated. And that's the fancy way of saying they've all worked there for a long time. So lots of knowledge in that group, tons of know-how. I am stoked. It's going to be one of those things where I think I'm going to bring a few things to the table that are awesome for them to have as an addition to their team, as well as I'm going to learn lots of stuff from some very cool, wise folks in IT and cybersecurity. So it's going to be great.
So are you lifting John up? I mean, he's probably in the doldrums.
Do what?
Lifting John up because he's probably in the doldrums.
I didn't understand any of that because I took a hydrocodone today. No.
John Davis will be missing you.
Oh, no, he won't. I live way too close to John for him to miss much of anything. I am constant. And then him and I work together very closely with our local ISACA board. We're both board members for our local ISACA chapter. And then all the other things that we do for like besides NOLA, NOLACon, right? Like all these things. So he can't miss me. Not even a little. I will still be there every day kind of situation, texting him in the background going, we've got to do this next. Right? Like it's the whole thing. Wow, that was a really long intro just for myself. I feel selfish. Look, with me as always is that, nope, you're Corey. Hold on, Corey. We're going to save the best for last. It was Will McCullen, the IT program manager. No, scratch that. Will McCullen, the program manager for the IT Center for Excellence at Pima Community College in Tucson, Arizona. Did I do it right?
Wow. And on hydrocodone at the same time. That's really good. I'm impressed.
Hey, I appreciate it. And our guest today is Corey LeBleu from ReliX Security, and they do all kinds of really cool stuff around applications and pen testing. And anyway, we're going to let Corey talk about that. But first, I want to say hey to everybody in the audience. How are you? Also, I want to make sure that everybody understands just because I will no longer be directly working with for Secure Nation. That does not mean that coffee table talks are over. We're still doing coffee table talk on a regular basis. The time might change depending on what is required by the new position, which is fine, right? It's going to be a little adjustment, but we're still going to do it on a weekly basis. We have guests booked out until September. So that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And we're continuously always booking new guests. So hey, Rob said, yay. Thanks, Rob. I knew that was gonna be a question that Rob was gonna eventually ask. It's like one of our very frequent coffee holics. He was gonna be like, wait a minute, what does that mean? No, we're still here. So don't worry, never fear. Anyhow, so glad you guys are here. Corey is a person that's a guest that I should let talk instead of me. So I'm doing an awful lot of it. I'm gonna drink coffee now. Hey Corey, how are you? How's your day?
Pretty good. So Corey LeBleu, I do offensive security. I've been doing this professionally since about 2004. I worked with John Davis, my first job. So
did you really?
Yeah,
I actually didn't know that. You worked with John Davis your first job. What were you guys doing?
And later job too. We're at a Baton Rouge company doing. He was doing sales. I was doing pen testing. I was mainly doing network pen testing then and compliance sort of stuff. I've since moved into more application pen testing, but just lots and lots of travel.
Wow.
Worked with John at a few companies, so we've known each
cool.
other. John was actually best man at my wedding, so we know each
other.
Was
he?
Yeah.
I didn't even know any of this. Nice.
Yeah, we know each other pretty well, so we keep.
Oh, fantastic! That's awesome. So you also know that you should never let John Davis drive you anywhere, right? Okay.
I've been in his Jeep when he had that thing. That was interesting.
There was a Jeep.
Yeah. It was like
John's gonna have to tell me about the Jeep. The only vehicle I've ever known is the Raptor.
Yeah, it was going around the levee, just like up and down hills, and it's it was fun. It was a little crazy, a little steep hills.
So you realize, Rachel, this means that you now have a source for stories on John. This is awesome.
Great. John's probably like, oh shit. No. Or they've already pre-discussed what they're allowed to talk about. I can also see that being a thing that has happened. Yeah, I'm sure Corey's got tons of stories on John.
Yeah. So what got you into this, Corey? What you just woke up and said, oh, I want to be in security.
I went to LSU, and at the time, ISDS was hot, which was Information Systems and Decision Sciences. I knew I wanted to do business, and that was kind of the hot degree, so I went that route. Really wasn't into computers, completing it, really just wasn't that thrilled about it. But then, it was right when the bubble burst, so I couldn't really, it was trouble finding a job at first. And I decided I interviewed for some stuff and ended up taking a Cisco course for the CCNA. Wow. And that kind of made me fall in love with it. I kind of saw the power of the networking and all that stuff. So took the CCNA, got that, and I've got several certifications. That's the only one that I failed. I did it the first time, but I kind of jumped into it really quick. So I went from not knowing what the IP config command is to having CCNA in about 3 months.
Wow.
Well done.
Failed it once. I mean, I did a boot camp that helped a lot, but from there, I kind of use certifications kind of as a learning roadmap almost, not necessarily means to an end themselves, but wanting to learn a subject and doing a certification just to kind of measure my knowledge on that. So CCNA, and worked some help desk stuff, got Security Plus certified. And then I'd read about in Network World or something, somebody talking about pen testing and doing it from next to a pool on their laptop or something. It just sounded really appealing.
You're like, wow, that sounds like the job for me.
I later interviewed with the guy like 10 years later somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Was he still doing pen testing next to his pool?
He was doing like kind of internal security team then. Yeah, I think it was for like the electric company or something.
Just did the pool on weekends.
Yeah. So I started looking for a pen testing job, which it was a lot more sparse back in 2004 than it is now. Like,
yeah, I'm sure. A lot of people, though, I've noticed lately. Okay, maybe not lately. No, lately, that a lot more people, whenever I ask them, what direction, especially for like the students and stuff, what direction would you like to go in for your cybersecurity kind of career path? And they're always so excited about red teaming and pen testing and being that kind of, the good.
Well, that's the cool thing, right?
Right. It's the cool thing.
I want to be a pen tester.
I got it. Oops, I accidentally muted myself. I gotta tell you though, guys, unless you're like as far as entry level, this is just my opinion. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, or please offer your opinion. That's why we're here, right? It's for difference of opinion. I don't know if I feel like if you're in it for looking for that big paycheck with like some stability, try blue teaming. I'm just saying. I know it sounds boring, but trust me, my husband is a blue teamer, has been a blue teamer his whole career. He's never bored. Like, it's never as boring as some people think it might be, but that's just me. I don't know. I feel like there's such a big competition for red teaming roles and for those job openings. And there's just not enough for good quality blue teamers. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, pen testing, you really have to like writing reports. That's what people don't really tell you. Like,
right. There's like this totally uncool side to it that people are like, oh.
Well, like, I've worked at some companies that have pretty robust reporting systems where it's not that bad. But like,
right.
Starting out with my own company, I'm having to do a lot of it by hand. And, putting together a 30, 40 page technical report by hand is a pain from, if you don't have like a database of report findings to auto generate, you have to manually describe each one, which, you shouldn't be describing technical details, but if you're having to rewrite or write, vulnerability descriptions, recommendations, site references, etc., it's extremely time consuming.
Well, yeah, because what they actually need is what to fix and how to fix it, right?
Right. They're paying you for the report.
And so, but the report writing is probably not the main motivational aspect for you liking to do red teaming, right? So,
I don't really do that much technical red teaming. If you want to get really specific, like adversary emulation. So I don't really do much of the evasion stuff, but I've done pretty much every other type of offensive security consulting. I've done a little bit of that, and then I haven't really done much like hardware hacking, but I've done, network pen testing, internal, external application pen testing, API testing, restricted environment testing. I've tested ICS devices and how they communicate with mobile applications. I've done social engineering, done some fuzzing. I've done source code reviews. Just, all of that really.
So what's the most fun experience you've come across? Or what
it varies.
Really excited?
It depends on the environment, really. Like, sometimes things are the same and sometimes they're very different. The network pen testing used to kind of get me going, but I got a little bored with it. But it was like trying to take over as many hosts as possible. I think like one network, and this was when Metasploit framework first came out, I found, this is really, I don't know if anyone will even remember this. There was a company called Foundstone that was huge way back when.
Mm-hmm.
And they made vulnerability scanners for like some individual vulnerabilities, specifically like MS0411 and MS0539, which everyone used to have. So I basically enumerated those, threw them into like a for loop on a network, and took over like 150 out of 300 machines in the matter of a day. It was insane. So I set a company record there. So that was one of it. And then also the network pen testing got a little repetitive. So that's kind of how I got into the web app testing. I just started, when I had extra time, I'd started testing web apps. And that was more at the second company that John and I worked at, and they actually had like a vulnerability disclosure policy. So I was able to get a few CVEs under my belt.
Oh, cool.
Including Apple and Citrix. Ooh. So that was pretty nice. So they were basic vulnerabilities, but it's still good to have those directory traversal and SQL injection vulnerabilities. So that's kind of why I also got interested in the exploit dev stuff and the programming stuff, and kind of went down that route a little on my own, but not so much professionally. I did get the GREM, the SANS reverse engineering malware. I got that like just basically is on the roadmap to trying to take their exploit dev course, which unfortunately I did the GREM and I was scheduled for the exploit dev course and they canceled it and I couldn't get to it for like a year. And
oh man.
By then I'd forgotten most of the GREM stuff, so it was really an uphill battle.
Oh man, that sucks.
Have you ever brought any systems down by mistake?
Yeah, especially early in my career, like ARP spoofing specifically.
Wait, I don't understand this. I'm not a pen tester. You have to explain these things to me and break them down.
Basically, there's a protocol called ARP, and it translates like MAC addresses to IP addresses. So like
okay.
Hardware addresses to logical addresses.
Okay.
So the way that works is it sends out these broadcast requests, and it doesn't really performing authentication. So it takes the first request that it gets and treats it as valid. Okay. So you just send out a lot of them real quick, and you fill up its state table to where it tries to send traffic to you instead of other systems, in which the idea is to proxy it through you and sniff passwords, etc.
Oh.
But you have to have your NIC enabled or your system enabled to do forwarding. So I've done it before where it didn't have it set to do forwarding. So I got all the traffic hit me and just stopped like a brick wall.
Oh no.
So yeah, so ARP spoofing is dangerous, and I'm kind of like hesitant to do a lot of network attacks like that just due to that nature. There's one tool that looked kind of cool that had a lot of it. Was Yersinia, I think was the name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But yeah, I brought down a few networks with that.
Yeah, we do that in our Wireshark class actually. Because the students manage the environment, so we can do that. And for the audience, the ARP spoofing is basically saying, no, I'm .9, I'm .9, I'm .9. And then everyone thinks, oh, that's .9. And then it takes that and actually sends it to the real .9. But now they're in the middle.
Right.
If you're in the middle, you can do a lot.
Once or twice forgot to set up that, send it to them. It just stopped at me.
Oops. That'll break stuff.
So yeah, that's classic attack.
I've seen regular software do a DOS like that, though. Like at one of my jobs previous to that, somebody installed like the latest version of QuickTime, and it did some sort of broadcast request and took down 2 links on a corporate network.
Oops.
QuickTime, that was a while ago.
Yeah, I think he had installed Nmap on his system and didn't want them to know about it, so he wiped his system, and when he was reinstalling everything, that happened.
Wow.
But yeah, when I was getting started on pen testing, like I said, it was kind of an unknown field. Like I tried to interview at places in Houston, and like I had someone straight up tell me like there's no market for this in Houston.
What?
Really?
Yeah, Yeah, like
Anywhere there's a large community of businesses, there's business
I would
for
think so, but that was when I was first, trying to get my first job, and obviously that person was wrong, but that just tells
Yeah.
you how much in its infancy it was.
Did you believe them, or were you like,
No, I
whatever?
kept at it. I mean, I
Good. You
found
trusted your
another
gut?
place. I found a place in Baton Rouge, and I'd been like stomping around Houston and Atlanta, trying to like literally trying to put resumes in people's hands, and that sort of it. That time
well,
frame.
yeah, early on though, a lot of folks had no idea what pen testing was,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And so you probably had to do a whole lot of selling the concept. Now it's like, oh yeah, okay, we need a pen tester, but they
John
have
says
to
we
have it
have
on the
to.
report.
John says we have to ask you about the fire marshal.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so the first security job John and I worked at, I basically did like network pen testing, security assessments, and compliance, and also social engineering. So we would basically dress as the fire marshal and go into banks and credit unions and document what all we could steal. So that was interesting. So I would make fake IDs using Microsoft Word. They looked horrible. Um, it wasn't even my body, it was my boss's body with my face superimposed and then made Word. I mean, they were horrible. One of my bosses sometimes jokingly would put that his weight was 500 pounds because the secret was you flash a badge, their eye goes to the badge, not the ID, and then you take it down before they can look at it.
Right.
So lots of that. The first one that I went on, I was just in the ride along, and the guy saw like a stack of money orders, and he was like, that probably shouldn't be there. So we left, came back a few days later, the stack of money orders is still there. So the guy decides, you know what, I'm going to take this. So this is a stack of $1,000 money orders, vacuum packed, about yay thick. So they don't notice it's gone till we're in the office. Like 2 days later, it gives it to the network IT guy. The IT guy is like, yeah, I need to bring this to the CFO. Brought it in there with him, and he just throws it down on the desk like, you missing something? Man, that was not good. So we were not allowed to actually take anything after that because that blew up. The guy didn't, it had been like 2 days and he didn't even know it was gone.
Wow. Yeah. See, when you're telling people how ugly their baby is, you're not also supposed to tell them what a crappy parent they are. Because that's what you did. You were like, not only is this baby ugly, you are negligent. And this baby should be given to CPS. Like it was bad. Well.
So, God.
That's another tricky part of that, right? Because when you go in and you find major problems, depending upon the skill and maturity of the management, some people could get fired right out.
Right.
And this was the Wild West back then, especially
Yeah.
with social engineering. So, like, I got out of it because I didn't like that every time that we had a close call with law enforcement or whatever, they would rewrite the get out of jail free card. For those that don't know, that's just the document saying that I'm authorized to be here. It's signed by upper management saying if there are any issues, contact them. Don't throw them in jail. Well, sometimes they don't like it when you impersonate, fire inspectors. Like we didn't do cops for obvious reasons, but for the fire inspector, like my last job there, and I was already wanting to get out of it because it was, making me nervous because every time we'd have a close call, they'd revise it and it just didn't sit well with me.
Right.
Well, the last one that I went on, the security guard was tailing me pretty tight, but I got away. It was a little fishy, but I got out. Couldn't plan anything. So I'm driving to the next location. We got a call. Yeah, you need to come back to this location. I'm like, well, I'm almost this other. No, you need to come back here right now. The fire inspector's here. They want to talk to you. So I show up and this guy is pissed. He does not like that I was impersonating a fire inspector, saying that, I'm making his job harder, yada, yada. So in about 5 minutes, I'm in handcuffs.
Oh no, Corey.
Yeah. So I'm getting
Obviously,
grilled.
it turned out well. You're here, and behind your background is not prison bars. But oh no.
So get grilled there some more, and then he puts me in the back of the car, and we're headed to the police station. At some point, he told me I was under arrest. At some point, he said I wasn't. But he was like, he loosened up a little bit in the car, and he's like, "Well, how old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 25." Blah blah blah. How much money do you make? It's like, "Oh, that's pretty good for your age. Not good enough for this, though." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I have resumes out."
Yeah.
So we get to the police station, and they stick me in a room. Those rooms that are separated kind of by like the cubicle type material that's really thin for the walls.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in one, he's in the other one. I can hear him calling the DA, and I get to hear the DA bitching up for cuffing me without arresting me. So then I got let go. But that was my last social engineering experience. It was very stressful, and that's why I don't do it anymore.
That's a good idea. I like it. So for anybody thinking about going into pen testing, take the wisdom in the story.
Another thing about pen testing, I was talking about the report writing, but some people don't consider it as like, especially for the network side, well, not as much now, but there used to be a lot of travel involved. So that's part of why I got into the application side, is because I got burnt out on traveling.
That's fair. It happens, especially whenever you start, trying to spend time with your family or you're busy making a family, like that part of your life. The scary stories though from pen testers. There's a panel that I don't know if they do it every year at NOLACon, but I feel like I've seen it every year at NOLACon, and it will be a bunch of either current pen testers or ex pen testers with nothing but tons of stories, just like what Corey was talking about, like these near, like I almost died, like like one of those. And it's so interesting. I'm like, you've got to have a passion for that, or like just really, there's got to be such an adrenaline rush associated with it too.
That's
I guess
the thing, like the social engineering, like the first dozen or so, it was just a blast. But after a while, it was just stress. Like the shininess wore off, but it was still the stress.
Can you show us the big, because in the pre-show you showed us there was a yellow frame board or something, and it's cool. I'm gonna let Corey tell you what it is, but it's nuts. Go ahead, social engineers, y'all are made out of something else. Don't break anything.
Background.
Oh, okay.
It's not showing up because it's looking for my face.
Yeah, that's fair. That's called a learning curve. Handcuffs. John, that's not a learning curve.
All right. So that's something that I made out of a lot of the fake IDs that I used.
Look at all the fake IDs. My goodness.
That's just all the ones that I found in a drawer when moving.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So
that's nuts.
Yeah, and like the first one that I went on, the first one that I went in myself, was on an Army base.
Really?
Yeah.
That's scary. You better hope you got a good get out of. Ooh, can you just think about if your get out of jail free card is questioned too hard? You know what I mean?
It was for a credit union on an Army base, but it was still on an Army base, and that was pretty freaky. So,
yeah, well, that get out of jail free area falls into, they can say, we don't care.
Right?
Well, I mean, that's what happened with the fire inspector, and then the DA cared, but he was just like, "Yeah, you're going to jail." So, but I've read, like they had that issue with like I think it was coal fire with those people getting in trouble with it, and it's like it's really a legal gray area. Like, I mean, you can say that you're allowed there, but you could still be breaking laws or
Right.
piss off the wrong person. I mean, yeah.
So you're not doing that anymore.
No, I'm not doing that anymore. Like I said, I started in the network pen testing, doing those assessments and all that, and I kind of moved more into application security. So I spend, 95% of my time in Burp Suite, which is a web testing tool, which is kind of the industry standard everyone uses. Anyone worth their salt will tell you that they spend all their time in that tool. Like there's another guy who's LinkedIn famous, Tiberius, I think, and he was saying like, yeah, I just tell people I spend 95% of my time there, and people are like all in one tool, and it's like, yeah, I mean, like it supports everything. It's extendable. Just it's for web stuff. If you're going to learn one tool, learn Burp Suite, and it just lets you do a lot of manual stuff and automated stuff.
Yeah, we had a fun time in the range at one point in time. We had K-12, and we had a kid who was in middle school, and we're going through some of the exercises there, and he turns around and he says, is it okay if we use Burp Suite? 12.
Wow.
Right?
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
So since you're out there doing the application security, looking at these websites, how bad is it?
It varies. It depends on the maturity level, really. A lot.
Well, I'm talking about across the board. How bad are we as a nation?
Well, a lot of the applications I test tend to be pretty mature, especially like I do a lot of enterprise stuff, and I was with Verizon for 10 years, so that was like all the biggest companies. And with that, you don't really see vulnerabilities like SQL injection as frequently, just these catastrophic things, but you will see a lot more things like business logic vulnerabilities, data exposure, et cetera, as well as just a litany of smaller issues that are always present, like user enumeration, not requiring authentication to update information like within the application, not requiring you to authenticate to update the email address or whatnot. So a lot of the really catastrophic vulnerabilities have been, for the most part, taken care of, but you will still occasionally see a SQL injection or like XML external entity injection. But it's significantly improved since back in the day, whereas everything, no one did input validation, whereas nowadays a lot of the frameworks do a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
A lot of that can be easily automated, right?
It depends. I mean, the business logic stuff, not so much, as well as just the design issues. Like I was saying, like requiring the authentication and stuff. It's just something that you have to manually observe. Whereas, like for SQL injection or whatnot, a lot of the times I'll find it with Burp manually or automated, and then I'll use something totally automated like SQL Map to try and test it more, take advantage of it.
So I'm just thinking about what is coming against us on a regular basis from adversaries and the like, of how the industry really needs to take advantage of this, right?
Well, I mean, a lot of the web stuff, I mean, you shouldn't be playing whack-a-mole. You should be implementing in your SDLC. So a lot of it's best coding practices and implementing it further down. If you've ever heard the term shift left, that's just like implementing security earlier in your development cycle.
Yeah.
What kind of an interest in this? I got one of my certifications to that, which is the CSSLP, which is by the same people that did the CISSP, but it's for software security lifecycle. And like I said, I kind of use that as a learning map to kind of learn more about what the developer point of view was.
So if you are a student getting into the industry, what is the best way to approach a lot of this? Either from the red teaming like you do, or to help solve the problems that you come across?
Well, to get into it, like I said, I kind of used certifications as a learning roadmap, just to get the general concepts, or technical concepts, from CCNA to CISSP, et cetera. Just using that to learn, reading every book that I could get. Nowadays, what I would do a lot more is practice on live training environments. If you want to get into web stuff, Portswigger, the manufacturer of Burp, has their own free academy, and they have a certification that I think would be really cool to take. And that kind of like just has challenges as well as solutions on how to find and exploit web vulnerabilities. The OWASP Foundation also has some live environment stuff and a bunch of tools related to web security, as well as OWASP hosts the OWASP Top 10.
Oh yeah, Frank mentioned that. We had recently on a session of the coffee table talk, Frank Victory, who's the vice president of the OWASP chapter in Denver. And he mentioned a bunch of those resources that we were able to share too, which was really cool. So sorry, there's just a big moment for me where all these guest things start to come together, and I like how it percolates. It makes it lovely. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So also, like with that, there's also the OWASP testing guide, which is also kind of like an industry standard of how to test stuff. And like, everybody basically, our methodology is based around this, and their methodology is that.
Right. Very cool. Corey, have you ever put together a capture the flag type event?
No, I've never put one together. I was a judge for one of them like 15, 20 years ago. It was for a collegiate cyber. I don't remember the name of it. Yeah, it was like
I think it would be really cool if we could either get you to be a judge for a CTF, maybe for like B-Sides NOLA next year, because we're starting to plan out already for 2026 for B-Sides NOLA, and you being in Texas is not too far away, I don't think. And right, you need an excuse to come to New Orleans and hang out with John.
And I mean, I'm from Baton Rouge, more or less.
Right. So yeah, maybe that's something we should. I'm gonna keep you on my list of CTF judges. Cool. You're gonna be on that. See if we can't get something like that put together. I know Najo has talked about it at some point, doing a CTF at B-Sides. So anyway.
And Rachel, I think we lost the YouTube chat thing, because I tried to post the link for the OWASP Juice Shop.
You
that
did.
Was trying to think of.
Pardon me?
Let me see.
I was trying to think of that name. Yeah, that's a good learning program.
Yeah, that's the one where the kid looked up and said, "Hey, can I use Burp Suite?" That.
It just came through just now. I see it there now.
Meg put that in.
Yeah, Meg put it in, and on the YouTube, it's a link. It's a clickable link. So this is a weird, fun thing. So when Meg chats we stream from a platform called Restream, and the Restream is connected via APIs into the YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live. I think we're testing out TikTok today. I'm one of those jerks now.
Hi, China.
Hi. How's everybody? How's everybody in TikTok land? If we happen to be there, I'll have to go back and check it in a little bit. Anyhow, so whenever she chats from the Restream platform and it goes out, right? Each individual platform have different level of permissions. YouTube's the only one that's got a back and forth one, where here it shows up on the scrolling where it says host. That's Meg. Meg is talking. But if you go to the actual YouTube, it says the human API. It's coming from my account. So it looks very silly. But if you go to the YouTube, it's a clickable link, or you can type that into your search bar and it'll pull it up. So anyhow, just make sure it's not make sure it looks exactly like that link, right? If you're search barring it. because that's happened in the past. When was that? The last time we had that happen, where it was a threat actor had spoofed a tool. That happened it was 3 or 4 years ago. I can't even remember what tool it was, but it was some tool, and it wasn't a security tool though. It was just it was in the manufacturing industry. It was a tool that a lot of developers used, and threat actor had spoofed it into a malicious link instead.
Oh, URL obfuscation. I bet Corey has never done that.
Right.
No,
Like that.
not at all.
Right. You can tell I'm not a pen tester. I'm just super interested in what it is that they do. And I love reading of reports about it because on the operations side of the house, right, I'm usually part of the team that's moving to help close the gaps that the report highlights or part of a network, right? That's my part in penetration testing, as far as, how I get involved in it is I let all of the really smart people like Corey do their job, and then they tell me what broke, what doesn't work, where there's a glaring hole, or that kind of stuff. And then we take that through, look at the risk of leaving it there, or how many resources are needed to fix it or close it if it's a simple fix, that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's what I do. I'm more of the strategy side of life, but I rely on the Coreys of the world pretty heavily.
One thing, I don't know if it's getting too in the weeds, but that I like a lot is CVSS scoring system that may help with your remediation efforts, but kind of basically there's some calculators where you can input different inputs to calculate scores to convey the severity of issues. So not necessarily the environment, but just how dangerous it is.
Right.
And I include that on all my reports. But one thing that also is nice about that is if somebody pushes back on you about a finding, you can just be like, look, this is why I scored it this way. This isn't arbitrary. This isn't moving, sometimes it works to, work with clients based on certain needs, expectations, etc. But sometimes you just have to be firm, and, having a solid metric can definitely assist you in that.
Yeah, because you're at that point where things meet, right? You have the tech knob twisting area of, can I do this or can I not do this, right? The practical aspect. But then you're hitting into the compliance. What are all the policies? How do we protect ourselves against this? What, levels and what things should we focus on to be able to determine, can we risk this or can we not risk this, right? You're right at that point. And so you kind of have to live in both worlds, right?
And the thing with the CVSS, it deals with the severity. So you can basically hand it off to them and be like, look, this is how dangerous it is. The risk level is up to you and your organization to determine, be it based on, how valuable this asset is, what controls you have in place, etc. But you can just give them something saying, this is how dangerous it is.
Right.
The rest is up to you, because it's really, judging things it's a business decision. And,
right.
That's why they pay for the report. It's all about business.
Yeah, and I don't ever recommend just giving your report from the Coreys of the world directly to your leadership to ask for money to fix things. Don't do that. They don't understand what a CVSS score is. They're gonna be like, "What?"
Right.
I don't know what that means.
Saying, that's
you have to equate it to, this is how we lose customers. This is how we lose money. This is how we lose business function. This is how we alienate whole swaths of everything. Right? That's how it works. Don't do that. You need to rewrite it. You need to zhuzh it a little bit. Also, I know people are really excited to adopt all of these AI tools that will help with different things like reporting and stuff like that. But you should always be mindful of what information you copy and paste into your AI tool of choice, and make sure you redact anything identifying out of that before you have it help you do things. Just want to put that out there in case there's, because I know Corey, we were talking about, you were actually doing a bit of reading on some AI type topics, and I wanted to bring that up in what book you had chosen, because I need to write that down, because that's how I take all my book recommend. If there's a book somebody else is reading, I'm going to read it. I want to know.
So I was just reading How AI Works on No Starch Press. I forget the author name, but No Starch, I like a lot of their books. Generally pretty easy to digest. Good hacking books, good topics, etc. Definitely recommend them. But that book kind of just goes through a history of AI and kind of like how it works on each level a little bit. Gets a little in the weeds. It's a little dense, but it's definitely a worthwhile read.
Yeah, there's also a really cool article that came out just the other day on the Register, where a guy talked about some of the other aspects of AI that are coming up, to where AI is starting to poison itself, right? Because garbage in, garbage out, folks.
Yep.
And when you start having AI train itself off of the internet, which is a whole bunch of stuff now of folks posting AI, it's a little bit of a feedback loop in areas. And that's when you talk about report writing and things of that sort. What we're having to tell students all over the place is, no, you still got to go through and read it. You have to be very careful because it's getting worse.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Corey, if there was ever a network that you were allowed to test, which one would be your dream network to test?
I don't know. Probably some federal agency.
Ours or like abroad?
Some
Either
federal
or,
agency.
Like I always, when I was younger, I always kind of wanted to work for the NSA, but kind of went a different route. But you know, anything just that elite, to test something that elite would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously not doing that and went a different route, but disclaimer, I have not done that, not planning on doing
that. So you can go outside and wave the van off, right?
Yep. What's this weird Wi-Fi hotspot?
Oh no.
Have you seen people like spoofing or setting it up like not an FBI van or whatever?
Yeah. We did that for a little while. We also gauge how cool our neighbors are based on what they name their Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? If they leave it the default, whatever the packaging, right? Whatever the manufacturer's name is, we're like, those people suck. But then you'll get some that are like, not your Wi-Fi or FBI van 12, or, you know.
So for all the realtors out there, when somebody comes up and goes, yeah, let's live here.
Right.
Go, I think the neighbors are going to have a hard time with Wi-Fi in the near future.
Like, our Wi-Fi's name is TARDIS because it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Get it? And I'm a Doctor Who fan. So if you don't know what the TARDIS is, that's a Doctor Who. That's a Whovian thing.
I haven't watched that in a while.
It's the spaceship that the Doctor rides around in through space and time and travel. Anyway, but yeah, that's the name of ours. So good luck. There you go. With that bit of information. I don't know what you would do with that other than just be able to drive down my street and go, oh, there's Rachel's house.
So with the stuff that you found, the stuff that you've discovered, what message would you give to the world of what we really need to change?
Default passwords.
Still a thing, huh?
So much. Yeah.
Education, you know, like so many people's grandparents still don't know, you know, basic security hygiene and how not to fall for scams. And yeah, just, you know, user awareness. I mean, the social engineering aspect, that was kind of the whole point of doing that, was to raise user awareness, to kind of shock and awe people into thinking twice about doing something. And Your average user might not think that they're a target, but they might be a target, especially with scammers nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays it's on the adversary level,
Yeah.
right? So that's the wild thing of the internet, is that you can reach out and touch across the world easily.
I mean, there's still companies that I can't sell penetration testing for because they think, who's going to hack us? And it's like, well, just wait and see.
Right.
Ouch. That's a bad place to be in.
Yeah.
Like, it's a crime of opportunity. They don't necessarily have to target you. They just see the issue and exploit it, even if it's just to use you as a jumping ground to someone else.
Yep. There's so many
Yep.
attacks that can be automated too. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, kind of thing. Like, just hurl it, and then that's your target. Whatever attack stuck, that you're like, oh well, we're going there next.
Pour a whole bunch of water on the roof and see where it sucks in.
Right? It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're a huge target. It just has to be that you're vulnerable.
So John was mentioning AF or MFA. I mean, I still think MFA is a good idea. It's just different types of MFA are some are more secure than others. Like an MFA app is more secure than like a text message. Also, it depends on the implementation itself. I've tested applications that they're not generating random text messages. They're having, characters repeat and stuff. So the authenticator apps are a lot better. Another thing for end users that I would recommend is I love password managers. Like, having one secure place to store your passwords, having one giant password to secure it, and not having to remember 50 million passwords, write them down, or have just insecure, weak passwords.
Yeah.
Oh, so you need to not have one password for all, huh?
No.
Right.
You haven't made use of that before, have you?
Yeah.
I've gotten so good at using my password manager that whenever it like randomly, like I don't know any of my passwords, actually, by heart. They're all randomly generated, like 16 character passwords. I have no idea what any of them are.
But John brings up a really good point, is that the hard part with the whole MFA area is that it can be a pain. And there's a whole lot of folks out there that have a very low threshold for inconvenience.
Yeah.
Good security sucks.
It does. It does sometimes. It doesn't always have to, though. You can have a good support team to help you with it. Like, and the reason why I say that is, like, I mean, I'm sure in your corporate environments, right? Like your help desk and stuff can help you with different stuff. And sometimes your help desk is great, and sometimes they're horrible, and you don't want to talk to them. But in my personal life, like for instance, with the grandparent, like my parents, anytime that they have any issues or signing up for a new account with something, they always get me or my husband to help them set it up so that they do have they don't refer to it as MFA, right? They're like, I just want to be able to unlock it with my fingerprint. And I'm like, that's great. Let's do that. And we set those things up for them and monitor them for them, that kind of stuff. So,
But then also, if you have difficulties with MFA, right?
Yeah.
Like John said there, add MFA to everything I used to say. Now I regret it.
Yeah.
And if you say something like that on a public forum, you're like a big target right away, aren't you, John?
Well, the thing is, like, MFA is so inconsistent. Like, I've got 2 phones. I've got 4 MFA apps per phone. So, I mean, I've got, like, depending on what app, I don't know. Okay, which phone is it and which app is it?
Yeah.
So.
That can be a thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always keep MFA enabled on every account that I log into. I don't regret it. And I make it extra hard for myself so that not even on a device that is recognized or trusted or anything else. Like, I still have to put in there's extra security steps even for my desktop at home, because this is my living room and I have tiny humans that run around here and like to click buttons on things. And they're little terrorists. So one of the things, I mean, I'm really glad my daughter didn't get kicked out of school for shoulder surfing the librarian's password thing. It was a thing. I shared it in one of the group chats that Will and I are in with a bunch of other cybersecurity people. And I was like, baby hacker at large. Here she is. She's already shoulder surfing, sharing passwords. And we got to have a very good conversation that I felt was very educational with the staff at Denham Springs Elementary about their password hygiene and how to navigate some of those things in the way that they do their day to day. But yeah, every opportunity is an opportunity for education, right?
Well, I'm saying that good security sucks, and I say that because security is always a trade-off between like security and usability.
Yeah.
And that's why people, bypass different things and why certain security controls don't work, because if it's too difficult, they're going to find a way to bypass it. If they have to have too complex of a password, don't have a password manager, they're going to write it down. They're going to use password 12345,
with an exclamation point.
Don't tell them that. That's the secret.
Well, Corey, I'm glad that you came to hang out with us today. I got to learn a lot more about you. Offline, I'll apparently get to learn a lot more about John too. So that's always fun. I got to ask a lot of good questions about penetration testing and learn more about kind of how your journey came along through that. And I liked this. This was fun. I learned anytime I learn stuff, I'm super excited about it. I hope you had a good time too.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Next week, we're going to be talking with Cara Federo. That event is live and you can click to attend it from the Secure Nation LinkedIn, as well as hit that alerty button, whatever. Do your things on YouTube. Remind me or whatever it is. But anyway, we're going to be talking with her. She is fantastic. I've been hanging out with her for the last couple of months on a regular basis. Just down to earth, great person. Over there with what is she? I don't even remember what it is that she does. It's something really awesome. Vulnerability management. That's it for GoDaddy. That's a good place to do that at, I think. So y'all come back, hang out with us then. I will be in a better place, feeling better by then too. If the time changes, please don't hate me for that. That's because the new job said I can't do it in the middle of the day on a Friday. But we'll make sure to let everybody know and announce any time changes or any alterations we have to make. Alterations. That's the word. That's the word for it. Alterations.
Well, we have a red teamer, so it works.
This is English is tough for me right now. Anyway,
for those of you on hydrocodone, the actual point,
look, I try to avoid it at all costs, but today was just not the day. It wasn't going to happen. We had to take the big boy today. It was not working out. Anyway, y'all have a great weekend. Thanks so much for stopping by, and thank you again, Corey. Don't go anywhere after we hit the end stream button, Corey. Don't hang up just yet, okay? Because for people who didn't know that, you get a very special gift for being a guest on the show, other than the gift of me and Will. I know we're just so awesome. Anyway, we'll see you guys next